I'm sorry, it's very emotional for me because I see European people with blue eyes and blonde hair being killed, children being killed every day with Putin's missiles and his helicopters and his rockets.
To be clear to folks in this region who are thinking about making that dangerous trek to the United States-Mexico border, do not come. Do not come.
This thing of peace is very important, especially right now. In tough times, in times of trial and tribulation, truth is revealed to you. What I want to talk about is the problem of racism as it's playing out right now in Russia, in the Ukraine, as it's playing out in what we feel as individuals about racism, our reality, whether we are racist or not. Have you ever considered the thousands waiting at the southern border of the United States of America, seeking to come into this country, to gather better life, escaping oppression, escaping economic privation, escaping drugs, escaping crime, and seeking only to have a better life, seeking only to improve their condition of their children. Did you ever consider them? Did you ever consider the
why would you become a Muslim at
hundreds of thousands of Iraqis and Syrians who are fleeing a terrible war-torn situation, who are fleeing to the borders of Europe and the United States of America, who by virtue of their color, who by virtue of their ethnicity, who by virtue of their religion are called animals, terrorists, subhuman, threats to the security of the United States of America, simply on the basis of their color, simply on the basis of their religion. While in the Ukraine, 6 to 8 million refugees will be seeking asylum. But there will be no questioning their humanity. There will be no questioning their self-worth. There will be no questioning in calling them animals. There will be no birthday parties held for their children while they're welcomed into the borders. There will be, I should say, birthday parties. There will be food awaiting them. There will be housing awaiting them. They will be accepted into Poland. They will be accepted into Germany. They will be accepted into Greece. While others, simply by the virtue of their race, will be denied the rights that every human being should have. Did you ever see the babies of Muslims washing up on the shores of Greece, of Spain, of Portugal? Did you see the dead bodies of 6-month-old babies? Did the media report it? Was there tears over them? Was there humanity over them? Or were they dead with no news, no coverage? While you call yourself the land of the free, the home of the brave, that have the Statue of Liberty, that is supposed to welcome your presence, but you deny people on the basis of their color. Has this not been our history? When are we going to change? There can be no change. There can be no change of the environment. No change unless the heart is changed. If you cannot show humanity, if you cannot show humanity, there can be no change. Millions are dying, but because they are not white, because they are not European, they are not human and not considered. How Christian are you? What is the reality of Christianity? What is the racism that has defined it from its inception? Do you think about the dead Syrians? Do you think about the dead Egyptians? Do you think about the dead Iraqis? The dead from Mexico, from South America, from Honduras? Do you think about them? The Quran judges all people based on who they are, without looking at their color, without looking at their creed. Doesn't really matter, because it was Christianity that supported segregation, Jim Crow, Black Crow. Christianity supported the institution of slavery in America. So while you burn down the statues of Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, you continue to be Christian. The religion that established you as subhuman in the Constitution of the United States, it established that the black man was 3/4 human. The national anthem repeated it in a song. It repeated it. The institution of that slavery, that oppression, that subhuman treatment began in the Bible, because it was the Bible that established the concept of racial superiority. The Bible established the foundations of racism, the chosen people. What do you think the concept of a chosen people is? If you're chosen, then you ain't chosen. If you're of the chosen, you're not of the chosen, and therefore you are looking up at those who consider themselves chosen. Racial superiority, racism began in the Bible. Indeed, remember that the Bible predated the Quran, and the concept of racism began in the Bible. When the son of Jonah looked upon his father Noah, Ham looked upon his father Jonah naked. Noah cursed Ham. Ham was the progenitor of the black race and people of color. And from there, slavery was justified as a curse upon the black people of the world and upon people of color, from Noah, from Ham. Islam establishes that the superiority of the human being is in his equality. The Quran says, "For I have not made you into different tribes, nations, and colors, that you may hate each other. I made you differently that you may love each other and learn from each other." So we celebrate in Islam the diversity of everywhere you live. If you black, you white, you yellow, you green, you tall, you fat, you're a human being. And that is the main thing in Islam. The ability to call yourself human, the ability to love, the ability to unite, the ability to share, the ability to cry, the ability to feel, the ability to be human is a trait that Islam celebrates, and it only calls you to a guidance that will allow you to establish the best person that you can be. This is Islam. We must begin to understand the truth. Christianity spends $800 million a year on anti-Islamic propaganda. If Islam is a lie, why would you spend $800 million to fight a lie? When lies disappear by their very nature. You only spend $800 million to fight the truth, because truth is a hell of an enemy. It goes nowhere. It stands for itself. So if you want to understand and you want to get the reality and you want to get away from the chains that enslave you, begin by ridding yourself of Christianity. Christianity. Let me give you another thing. While they blame Islam for being violent, let me give you something. I'm going to give you reality. While they blame Islam for being violent, every single major war has been started by a Christian country. World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea, the 100-year war in Europe, the 30-year war in Europe. Every single world war, indeed, Western Christian countries.
Don't do that. You can't.
Indeed,
Tell them
Western Christian countries
You cannot do that, bro.
have invented a new economic class.
Bible. Can't do that, bro. That's somebody else.
And what is that new economic class?
Easy for crucify, right?
It is the industrial manufacturing class that makes billions in the production of weapons. Indeed, another economic class has been created based on the industrial weapons manufacturing, which America leads. Right now we are headed to a nuclear war possibly. And again, it's Christian countries, those who preach love, who fight and who cite the Prince of Peace, are starting yet another world war, a nuclear war. Russia is a Christian country. Don't get it twisted. America is a Christian country. Don't get it twisted. And they're headed again for another war. Another war. When will you open your eyes? When will you see the truth? When will you see it? That the lust for power, and world dominance comes in Christian countries. When will you see it? It never stops. Indeed, nuclear war was created as an established admittance that Christians love to fight. That's why nuclear war was created, like a dope fiend that goes to a program has to admit that he got a problem. Christianity, by inventing nuclear warfare, saying, yeah, we love fighting. We can't get war out of our system. So one more war, it's over. Just like the dope fiend that says, one more shot of cocaine, it's over. So it's admitting, nuclear war is admitting that the Christian world is addicted to violence, war, and domination. That's why they invented the nuclear war deterrent. How much more can you love war when you people invented sadomasochism? You make love like you're at war. How the hell can you blame Islam? I'm going to say it again. You invented sadomasochism. Are you tired? You invented sadomasochism. You make love like you're at war. And you got the nerve to call Islam? Listen. You go to church and y'all told me. Listen. I have no time to play. I'm 70 years old and I'm sick. I can only tell you the truth. I can only tell you the truth. Open your eyes and look at what's happening. Look at the racism that's permeating the society. Look at the permeating, the hatred, the racism that is permeating the Christian European world. Look at it. Welcoming children and families from Ukraine like their mama and papa. Apartments, houses, all types of care given to them immediately. And guess what? Look at this. Donald Trump said this: I'm not giving money to the Ukraine because they're the most corrupt government on earth. My brothers, I want you to listen to this. He said they're the most corrupt government on earth. But if the government is corrupt, then how about the people? My brothers, please listen. If the government is corrupt, then how about the people? For there is no tree that grows independent of the soil. You hear me, brother? Akhi, you hear me? There is no tree. There is no, akhi, there is no tree that grows independent of the soil. If the government is corrupt, then naturally the people are corrupt. But the Ukrainian people are made angels, sinless, without corruption. That they are a boom and a pleasure to everywhere where Ukrainians go, simply by the color of their skin. Do you understand how horrible that is? Do you understand the crime of seeing that racism and not doing anything about it? Where people from Ukraine are welcome, while people of color in our southern borders are held in cages, while their children are separated from their parents, while they're put in jails and detention centers, treated as animals, dope addicts, killers, and drug dealers, while the people in Ukraine are made as angels, white angels, of no fault on their own, sent by God as a blessing to wherever they go. I'm speaking to you about the equality of humanity. I'm speaking to you about waking up and understanding racism, that we are dominated by it, that even black people of color stand with that nonsense. You cry over the people in Ukraine, being black, being Hispanic, being of color, while you don't think a damn thing about colored people waiting in the borders of South America, of America. You don't think about that, about Africans trying to get into America, about Bangladeshis and people from the Middle East who have been here, fought for this country, went to school, who are still waiting to be citizens. There can be no change in the condition of the earth until there's a change here. Islam is about the change of the heart. It's about a readjusting of the wiring that we call the fitrah that Allah created this creation with. What is the fitrah? It is the natural wiring that we were created with that makes us the greatest creation that Allah has made. For no animal has it. No other creation is wired in to God like we are. We are naturally wired into our Creator. That's the nafs. But we lose that blessing, we lose that understanding when we do not use the compassion, the humanity that this faith calls you all to. Here we have Quran. Pick one up. Why would you hate what you do not understand? Why would you seek to be prejudiced against that which you have never bothered to investigate? If you must hate me, learn about me. then I can accept it. And I challenge you with this. What is worse? To hate without reason, or to look for a reason to hate? Which is worse? We call you to this truth. We call you to wake up and understand the racism that is happening. We call you to understand that the Muslim position is opposed to that racism. And the last thing I will say is that when you distinguish in your borders and you welcome people according only to their color, you are going against even the teachings in your own book. Because in your Bible, in the book of Deuteronomy, God curses the people of the Ammonites because they would not allow the Jews to come into their borders escaping oppression. What are you doing to the people of South America? What are you doing to the people of Iraq, Syria, Lebanon? What are you doing to the people in the oppressed Middle East who are suffering from a war that they did not create, but that you by policy created? You created the immigration. You created their reason for leaving. And now you deny them the right as human beings to live free of that oppression. Thank you very much.
Now the unthinkable has happened to them. And this is not a developing third world nation. This is Europe.
We look at what happened in the last refugee crisis in Europe back in 2015. Poland was one of the EU countries that, was hesitant to take in refugees. Talk about what has changed and the different position now.
Yeah, well, just to put it bluntly, these are not refugees from Syria. These are refugees from neighboring Ukraine. I mean, that, quite frankly, is part of it. These are Christians, they're white, they're very similar to people, maybe people who